Hello, welcome to the Cite of Henricus, 1611 to 1623. A hidden historical gem right in the heart of Central Virginia. You believe that? What makes this site so unique compared to other historical areas you'll go to is it's totally a reproduction. There's nothing original here, from the buildings to the actual site. Due to historical documents, maps, land records, personal recollections, they totally rebuilt the site as close to the original site as it could get in this day and time. Unfortunately, due to nature, time, and man, the site has been completely lost over time. It just has. The James River has shifted its banks quite a bit over the past 400 years. See, in the Civil War, it had a Union encampment here, and they built canals all over the place around here, and it kind of destroyed some of the area during the battle, during the Bermuda Hunter campaign and the siege of Petersburg. And then for the First World War, this whole area here was artillery range. They practiced in before they went overseas. So anything that might have been left has been completely destroyed. And then on top of that, it's right here on top of a river. It made a perfect spot for manufacturing, easy shipments in and out. But it's as close as they can get it to the original site. I'd say within the first couple hundred yards anyways. So let's take a walk around and see what we can find. This plaque right here tells all about how important this site is. It says it's a free enterprise had its beginning in the New World on this site in 1611. Sir Thomas Dale, following orders from the London Company to find a more healthful place, moved westward from Jamestown and built the town out of the wilderness. Cite of Henricus is a living museum for the world to learn of the hardships sustained and the opportunities found in the establishment of the free new world. This is the gift shop here. And then you got the plaque to the founder. He's the one that discovered the presence of Mount Milady, the first hospital in North America. And he's the one that promoted local interest in the project and started acquiring the land to build this place. Something like 80 acres here now. Let's go over to the fort. I forgot. This here's they got about a 5-mile trail back through the woods there along the river, through the marshland and stuff. And about a quarter mile down there, there's a pond back there. Visit a few times during the year, off and on. You catch a lot of bass and brim back yonder. A lot of turtles back there too. This is kind of an example of the little Indian hut back over yonder, and kind of how they have built the inside of the fort here, the little fire pits and skinning rack and stuff. They got a section here that pays tribute to the Indians from the area and to the settlers also. So we'll go to the settlers right now. This is the front of the fort. You can see they got some live reenactors here today. Got some cannons over yonder. It's a pretty nice place. It's interesting. This is kind of how it looks in yonder. Those thatched roofs are real on them buildings there. I don't know if you can see that one very well. We'll get up closer to it so you can see it. Got a couple of goats over there in the pen. It's as close to a representation of how it really was back then as they could make, with the little stick fences right there and the grass unkept. place is open today. They got a bunch of people up in there walking around, so I try to get it from the outside. Here's an example of how thick that stuff is. That thing's probably a foot thick. I watched the guys build these roofs up here. I've been coming up here before this place was even they found out that it was a historical site, and watched them build it. They brought them boys from over in Europe somewhere to actually do the thatching of all the roofs over on these buildings here. I mean, that was impressive to watch. You got to talk to them about it. People building the buildings here while they were building it before they closed it all off. You have to get a ticket now to go in there. But yeah, it was impressive. But that's how that's how accurate they tried to get with everything, as far as the building of the site, the location. And they have pretty good interpreters go in there. They know the time period real well, and they know the history of the site and what went on. It's a pretty good little show. Go listen to them. This here's why I like the back 40 so much. It's where you really learn about things from. The front is for show and for the neighbors. But there's a lot of people here today. But they got the picnic tables over yonder and a couple of monuments to the place. And the big brick chimney there is from an old lighthouse that was here in the 1800s. But this place is got a lot of history as far as the development of the New World. It was the second settlement in the New World, English settlement in the New World, 80 miles upriver. You go down this way over here and it's Richmond. And then had a lot of firsts here. You had the first college was chartered here. It didn't get built, but they had a charter for it. You had the first hospital. Some of the first tobacco grown for a commercial crop was grown here by Mr. John Rolfe himself. It's pretty a lot of stuff happened here that had a lot to do with the development of this country from the beginning right on up through today, actually, with the factories growing around here. This here's a monument to the Episcopalian Church. So what it says in the Protestant Episcopalian Church. It was erected over here. See, the Church of Henricus, under the auspices of Sir Thomas Dale, the High Marshal of Virginia, and the Reverend Alexander Whitaker, minister. It's to commemorate the foundation of the Protestant Episcopal Church in Henrico Parish. And then we got they got one over here. It's just a regular obelisk that commemorates the college charter. We got the Colonial Dames of America in the state of Virginia in 1910 erected this monument on the site of the town of Henricopolis to commemorate the college and university, which on May 26, 1619, the Virginia Company of London decreed should be established here. Now they closed they abandoned the fort before it got built, and they got a plaque on I think it's the Wren building, the College of William and Mary. That's the first building that was built there, paying homage to this, that said it was the reason that they were built. That's what it says. This here's one of many plaques they have out here, historical plaques telling you about what's going on. This here's about Captain John Smith's adventures on the James. He's the reason they come up river. He come up here early in the 1600s, explored Chickahominy and James River, and all the way up in the early 1600s before Jamestown even. And they used his maps to get up this way. It says down here that according to tradition, Pocahontas, the daughter of the Algonquin ruler Powhatan, was kidnapped at Jamestown and met and married John Rolfe at Henricus in 1614. John Rolfe was here in 1614 because he went with Sir Thomas Dale up the river to take Pocahontas back to the Indians up there. And she was, and about a month after they got back from the trip is when he married her in 1614. She was kidnapped and held prisoner in Jamestown, and they sent her up here for the Reverend Whitaker to, how you say, re-educate her, let's say, and converted her to Christianity and taught her to reading and writing and stuff. And then they moved across the river over yonder to Varina, her and John Rolfe, until they moved to England, and she died over yonder. Never did come back. So and this is why I'm out here quite a bit through the years. Got a little floating dock here to fish on. Some swampland over there, a marshy area. Tide's high right now. That's the varina-enon bridge right there. It's been there about 20 years or so, I guess. Over on this side of the bridge is a place called Enon, and on that side it's called Varina. We got our stuff together down here in Virginia. But about 80 miles that way on the river is Jamestown. That's where they come from, coming up here. And right over yonder in Varina is where old John Rolfe and Pocahontas lived at, and had them a little place there. So I spend a lot of time on this thing here, catching catfish and brim, perch, even catch stripers out here. You catch some bass. I've caught a lot of bass up right on the bank up yonder. But in order to get down here, you got to come down what I call the Hill of Death, and it gets longer every year. It's got the Cite of Henricus is about 80 foot up on a bluff up yonder. And it's got a little trail that runs up there. I get up to the top and catch my breath. I'll show you what I mean by Hill of Death. Well, I made it up the Hill of Death one more time. That bridge or that pier I was on, right through the woods, and about 80 foot down this hill here. It just goes down there and hangs left. Ain't so bad if you walk by yourself, but you're carrying a chair and a tackle box and fishing poles and everything, and no matter how many fish you're bringing back up with you, it's a pretty little steep little climb for a city boy like me anyways. Well, that's about it for Henricus today. I spend a lot of time out here, not much in the city, but in the down at the river. Easy getting to if you can take that little climb. That kind of puts things in perspective, you know. This is John Rolfe, John Smith, Pocahontas, Sir Thomas Dale. I mean, there was one time or another they walked through here, whether this is the original site or not. They were here, you know. And then people had to fight the Spaniards and the Indians and just trying to survive. You know, down at Jamestown, the first couple of years, they had a hard time going, almost like they weren't going to make out. And the water was bad. It was brackish. They were getting sick from that. Got sick from the mosquitoes. They're having a hard time making a cash crop. So the Virginia company said to make a new capital for our headquarters for the Virginia company. And they sent Sir Thomas Dale up here, about 300 musketeers, to build a new fort in the wilderness for people to move to. And that's what began the history of this little piece of land here. It's amazing. You know, it kind of puts things into perspective. All I got to worry about is trying to figure out how to make a couple $100 grand last 20 years in retirement. And these people were fighting for their lives up here. Well, that's about all I got. Y'all take a chance. You get on the computer and look it up, and you'll learn a lot more than I ever give you, that's for sure. But it's nice out here. Y'all have a good day. We'll talk with y'all later.